I've been running like a fool. Open my arms for you. I was young, and it's what young people do. Running, then I run back to you, just like the running people do. Running to be understood, think I keep running, running on back to you. Think I keep running, running on for good. Just like the running people do. Like the running people do.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another great live stream where we have a wonderful guest coming to join us today and talk about an amazing adventure and endeavor and honor that he is embarking on in honor of his late daughter, and also to support a very big component of the massage therapy community, the Massage Therapy Foundation. So happy to introduce you to Marshall Dahneke. He's going to come on and talk about all his endeavors that he's doing right now. So welcome, Marshall. Hello.
Hello, Michelle.
Hi, thank you so much for joining me. So I just mentioned a little bit of what you're embarking on right now. But so can you tell us a little bit first of what it is that you're training for right now? What is and for whom, right, that you're doing?
Yeah, of course. And the backstory is this: my oldest daughter, my baby daughter, right, the child that made me a father, she passed away a year ago Tuesday. So we just commemorated that 1 year mark, which was quite an emotional day for us.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it was a long journey, a 5 or 6 year period of time dealing with cancer. And I don't know the right terminology. She passed, but I hate to say that cancer prevailed, because I think she leveraged that opportunity and grew from it. And it's been a devastating experience for me and for my family. And I just wanted to grasp onto something to continue her light and legacy. She was a very service-oriented individual. She was the first runner in our family. And then it's interesting, the younger siblings, we have 6 children, they tend to follow the oldest. So they all became runners. Eventually my wife became a runner. I was the final holdout, and now I'm running marathons. So I decided in her honor, in her memory, to shine a light on her legacy of love and service, to run in her memory the Boston Marathon in April 2023. But to do so, and then the question was for what cause, right? And I wanted to raise funds to support individuals suffering through struggling with cancer like she did. And I just gravitated back to massage, which is just such a lovely profession, so big-hearted, open-hearted, embracing. And given my long track record with the Massage Therapy Foundation and community service projects being one of their 3 pillars, it just seemed like a natural kind of integration, merge. So I reached out to them, and they were very supportive. So now I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I can't do it upside down. I've got my Team Team Jack bracelet, and on the other side it says running for cancer relief.
Oh.
And so I've been training for and then running that. And I did not want to take one of the Massage Therapy Foundation's charity bibs. They've traditionally awarded 4 charity bibs every year. So I set out to qualify on my own merits so I could be the 5th runner and yet fundraise with that team for them as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. So for those listening who might not know a little bit about this, so the Boston Marathon, from my understanding, I used to work in a running store and I took a little attempt at running that was not running for a short time, but I got really connected with the running community and learned a lot about some of these bigger events in particular. And one, Boston Marathon, is very well known in the running community. And one of the big pieces that makes it unique is that it's a qualifying event. So usually and a lottery-based event. It's very few spots available, right, to be able to run.
Yeah, there's no lottery.
Oh,
Boston
okay.
is the only marathon where there's no lottery. You either qualify or you run.
Okay, so my mistake. Thank you for correcting me on that one. So, so you've got to be fast to do it, but they do also have those options for some of the charities to get some bibs, the running numbers for people to be able to run in. And raise funds for whichever charity it is. So the Massage Therapy Foundation has always had 4, I believe, right? And so now you've qualified on your own and you're doing it for the 5th. That's really amazing. I thought you were I didn't even know you weren't one of the 4. So thank you for that. That's an amazing feat. That's incredible.
Well, it gave me a much longer runway. My daughter passed in February, and I decided I wanted to do this. And so I was already signed up for a marathon, which is a qualifier, right? There's only certain marathons that are even recognized by the Boston Marathon. And it was my first marathon. So I was training for that, got COVID about 4 weeks before the marathon. There was just all sorts of obstacles.
Yeah.
But I ran and I was able to beat the qualifying time by about 9 minutes for my age and gender, which was enough cushion. And then because I was confident I would get in, I was actually able to initiate my fundraising. And I've gone a slightly different route than probably traditional because I had much more time. And given my past history as the CEO of Performance Health, like BioFreeze, Bomvital, TheraBand, Kramer, TheraPearl, other brands, other products, and how close I worked with hands-on healthcare professionals, that's where I was deciding, well, which of those professions do I want to embrace for this? And honestly, it was an easy choice. You can't ever have favorite children, right? But I just always adored working with the massage therapist, the massage therapy profession, the Massage Therapy Foundation. It's such a welcoming group of individuals. And my daughter loved massage. She was, as I said, the first runner. The Massage Therapy Foundation had this program to begin with. So I said, let me partner with them. But I did so in a unique way, Michelle, because I really started this, I'll call it May, June of 2021, or excuse me, 2022. I was able to start reaching out to brands, companies to sponsor this program and to set up, an overall initiative where I'm doing what I'm doing on behalf of the profession, on behalf of people struggling with cancer, all administered through the Massage Therapy Foundation and all in my daughter's name. But I wanted to do it first and foremost with those corporate partners and then extend into individual fundraising after the other 4 charity bibs were awarded. I didn't want to jump out and start individual fundraising ahead of the others. I didn't think that was fair. But I've signed up about 14, 15 companies that are supporting the Jacquelyn Project, sponsoring us. Every penny that they've contributed goes directly to the Massage Therapy Foundation. So because of that advanced timing, right, I was able to start late spring, early summer.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to have a more full court, kind of longer runway effort to be able to have more partners and to raise more. I think typically people raise in the range of $10,000 to $12,000,
Mm-hmm.
and our target is $75,000 for this campaign. So I needed a lot more time to be able to do that.
Yeah, yeah, wow. I can't imagine that the amount of dedication that has to go into this, not only for your physical training, but also to keep up with the fundraising efforts as well. Have you come up on any stumbling blocks? I do follow your blog, so I kind of know some of the answers and things, and I follow your posts and such. Can you talk through some of the challenges along the way that you've had?
Um, I'll hit a couple of things, but let me talk about the elephant in the room here.
Mhm.
The biggest stumbling block right now is
Ah,
the the post tibia, and I've got an MRI Monday morning to helpfully confirm whether this is soft tissue, is it muscle,
mhm.
or ligament,
Yeah.
or is it bone, or both, right? It could be bone edema. I'm
Mhm.
hoping it's just soft tissue, right? Because that heals faster. But I've been
Yeah.
struggling with this, and it's awfully hard to train for a marathon when you can't run very
Yeah.
frequently and very far.
Yeah.
So that's been a major recent setback.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Along the way, yeah, I mean, you run into obstacles along the way, but it's been good. Um, I probably overestimated how
Mhm.
hard the marathon running would be. I mean, I don't want to say it's easy. It's not.
Yeah.
I ran 3 marathons last year. My first one, I beat the BQ by Boston qualifying time by 9 minutes. The second one, I beat it by 10 minutes. The third one, I beat by 27 minutes. So
Wow.
I've kind of dialed that in and figured that part of it
Mhm.
out. I've
Mhm.
had a number of little injuries along the way, and you just kind of fight through those, deal with those.
Mhm.
I see a massage therapist regularly. I like to get in at least every 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
my primary guy knows what I'm doing, knows my body, and is able to give me kind of not just the tune up, but some really helpful advice and counsel along the way.
Great.
The harder part has been the actual fundraising
Mhm.
and the partnering with the brands because it's so time consuming.
Yeah.
But I will also tell you, it's been so gratifying because I started this off wondering, does anybody care?
Mm.
Is anyone going to step up? Is anyone going to step in? And people, because it's really, you talk about companies and brands, but it's really people and leaders.
Right.
They've
Yeah.
been incredibly gracious, incredibly supportive.
Mhm.
We signed up a bunch of people. I've had some individuals who've been particularly helpful in introducing me to folks. But like everything in life, I learned, or it's kind of relationship you have most. And so we've received just tremendous support. And now it's the ongoing, in addition to trying to run and train and cross train with low
Mhm.
impact exercise right now because of the leg, it's driving content,
Mhm.
supporting those, writing blogs and columns. That's
Yeah.
been incredibly interesting. And, the marathon's going to come and go. I'll look back and all of a sudden have more free time than I know what to do with. But, I just have to always remember what this is about, right? It's about
Yeah.
my daughter, Jacquelyn. It's about helping
Mhm.
individuals suffering through cancer right now as we speak. It's about
Mhm.
partnering with a profession that I love and leadership and individuals that I admire. So it's all worth it.
Yeah, well, I love it that you shared that. That's amazing. I'd love to go in a little bit more about Jacquelyn herself. You had mentioned she had a service, personality of service, and she's your baby girl. So I'm sure you have a lot of great things to say about her. But one of the things that struck me when you said earlier about cancer, how it didn't feel like she had been beaten by it because of the like um, how she lived through it. Can you speak of some of her positive outlooks on her journey, and some of the support that she received, and some of the things that you remember of how she was working it through a more positive light and trying to be seeing the better side of things. Is that, if I could say it that way? I don't know if that's the right wording for it.
Yeah, no, I understand. I She had one inherent advantage. When she was diagnosed, her daughter was probably, give or take, 2 years old, and just barely 2 years old. And as you might guess, 2-year-olds understand the notion of cancer. They don't understand the notion of disease. And so her mother is dealing with all the ramifications of going through chemotherapy. She had heavy radiation, then she had the radical surgery and follow-up surgeries, and it took a long time the first go around. And she had a daughter that frankly didn't care, right? Because a 2-year-old doesn't understand, and the 2-year-old wants to be fed, wants to play, so Jacquelyn was able to continue being a very caring and loving mother, and forced into everyday life. She was working and continued to work to help support her family. And so she just plowed through, and she just had this very positive attitude and outlook that she was going to get through that. And then at the other side of that, she had a year and a half, 2 pretty good years before the cancer, we say, came raging back. Obviously, it never left her body. It was just undetectable. It came raging back. It met stage 4 cancer, multiple organ, and she just continued moving forward, learning, making lifestyle changes to try and do whatever she could to be there for her daughter, hopefully a full life, but as long as possible. And I guess the thing, Michelle, that was probably more eye-opening, I talk about her service to others. It was really, I'll call it one-on-one ministering. And I wasn't aware of most of it, but it all came flooding out, like during her visitation and funeral service, and the notes and letters we got about individuals that Jacquelyn was talking with and listening to and supporting with their problems and trials and issues, while she was frankly dying with cancer.
Wow.
And it wasn't 1 or 2 or 3 or 7. I mean, it was dozens upon dozens. And, I had seen that side of her, but it was just this quiet love and support for others in need.
Yeah.
There was a woman, I'll just, without mentioning names, use one specific example, a woman who had been diagnosed with breast cancer, which is what Jacquelyn had. And she was probably, give or take, my age, upper 50s, maybe a little bit older. And she reached out to Jacquelyn, right, for some counsel and some advice. And they were just emailing back and forth. I didn't know anything about that. And Jacquelyn's being incredibly supportive to her. And later on, it was shared. And it was just that kind of a track record, that kind of an individual.
Yeah.
Despite her needs, she really reached out to others. And I think this, Michelle, and probably anyone listening knows that, that's one of the best things we can do. We can get ourselves fed as we focus on the needs of others. And as we do that, we feel better.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's huge. I believe in that myself. I'm kind of an over servicer, I guess, in a way, or I like, anytime someone's like, we need help with, I don't even hear the rest of it. I'm like, what can I do? And I think it's because it feeds my soul a lot, to be able to be of service. And I think people are missing out when they're not. And it doesn't have to be huge, right? And like your examples, just being able to talk with people, and as you're saying, minister, kind of provide a ministry, but even just a lending ear, to be able to be open to accept that from others. And I think that's a beautiful gift to give other people. And I'm so happy that you were sharing that of your daughter. And I'd love to share, if you don't mind, from your from the website. These let's see. Here we go. See if I got it here. There we go. I love these photos. So this is from the website with the project. So it's the JacquelynProject.net, and has a whole story of who Jacquelyn was and the lives that she touched. And I encourage anyone watching to go check that out, to read a little bit about Jacquelyn, and see this beautiful story about her as well. And this is, of course, where you have all the information about the project and what you're doing and how you're running. Let's go on to the homepage here, and that we have the donate button is on the website, and it goes to, that's a little time delay here. Come on, friends. Not popping it there. Why didn't that go? Oh, because there we go. It went to the wrong tab. Here we go. So this is where you're having that goal of your $75,000. I can't believe that's a huge, huge lofty goal, but look how close you're getting. And we have how many 81 days left to get you to Boston with that goal met as well. And so this is through the Massage Therapy Foundation, little logos there on the corner as well. Is there anything you'd like to say about this site or any of the information about the donations here?
I would just invite anyone to go take a look, and also take a look at the sponsor page.
Mm-hmm.
I love that we have so many companies and brands sponsoring this project, and they are reaching out to support the profession. So I would love for the massage therapist to embrace them the way they embraced me, right? When I was at Performance Health, I always felt welcomed and embraced and supported by this profession. I think this is a group of people I mentioned it before, they're big-hearted, but it's like when they see the support for them, they are so willing to give it. And I'd love to have people support these brands that have supported us. There's also a KOL page, and you don't have to go there, but people can take a look at the key opinion leaders that have signed on and signed up and are supporting the Jacquelyn Project. Really, really grateful for them. If you want to look at any of the columns or blogs that have been written, and that's a whole nother vein, Michelle, that we probably ought to take a minute to talk about, but it's all about self-care. It's all about what things we can do to live a wellness lifestyle. And it's all very progressive. And in a sense, what I'm doing is I'm describing my own journey, because if you didn't know me, I've lost a lot of weight. I'm in much better shape. And this journey with Jacquelyn, where I joined her in solidarity, right? I have a full head of hair. I just shave every couple of days, and I haven't quite let go of that yet. She lost her hair multiple times, and I wasn't going to have a head of hair when she didn't. She changed her diet, so I changed my diet. I didn't set out to lose a bunch of weight and get in better shape. It just happened. So the monthly column I write for Massage Magazine is all about each of those steps of self-care. And I liken it to, as I prepare for an endurance event, a marathon, running Boston or any of the others I've run, you have to do a number of things to prepare yourself. You have to do a number of things to be ready for the magnitude of effort. Anyone can go run a half marathon. A marathon becomes very, very technical, and our bodies can't do it without, number one, the right preparation, but the right support. There's things we just have to do to be able to pull that off.
Yeah. I
look at the massage therapy profession. So it's an endurance profession. Imagine being on your feet 5 to 7 to 8 hours a day, using your hands and body, applying just the right pressure at just the right place for just the right duration, and doing that again and again and again. It's an endurance profession.
Yeah.
Right? A marathon is an endurance sport. Massage therapy is an endurance profession. And in order to survive and thrive in that profession, massage therapists have to take care of themselves and prepare just like I need to. So that's been the subject matter of the blogs on the Massage Therapy Foundation site, the columns for Massage Magazine, about self-care, about living a wellness lifestyle and the benefits and blessings that come from that. And I'm living proof. Just look at the picture you used of me to promote this and look at my face now, right? I call that, and I don't know if this is politically correct, and my wife gets a little annoyed with me, but I call that fat Marshall. I was 230 pounds, and now I'm in the 140s. And my capacity and my ability is so much better and so much greater now. I just am able to enjoy things much, much more and do more. It's liberating.
Wow.
And I think anyone who wants that long career in massage therapy probably knows they have to take care of themselves. And that's the, advice, counsel, recipes, if you will, offered through that literature. And that's also available through the website.
Awesome. I love that. And that's the website there. All the links, a lot of information on it. And so do you think once you finish, I don't know if people have asked you this, once April comes and goes, will you continue the columns? Will you, do you see kind of extending the Jacquelyn Project or making it kind of transform a little bit?
That's a really good question. I have thought about that a little bit, but not a lot. Right now, I'm so focused on trying to figure out how I can show up healthy to the starting line on April 17th. And the thing people have asked me more is, will you keep running marathons? And I am signed up for a June marathon. I am signed up for an October marathon. Now I kind of have figured out the marathon circuit. Boston is one of 6, they call them major marathons. It's Boston, New York, Chicago, those are US, and then add to that London, Berlin, and Tokyo. And so there's a whole sport of people they call it getting the 6 stars, running those 6 marathons. So if my body holds up, I'll probably continue and run all 6 of those marathons. As an interesting side note, and I didn't know this was a thing, there's an age-based marathon world championship every year.
Oh, wow.
So they take by gender, right, and age, if you run 2 qualifying marathons, again, there's only a certain subset of marathons that are involved in that, you earn points, and then they take the top couple hundred people from each age and gender bracket and invite them to this annual world championship.
Oh, wow.
And somehow on my between my first and my third marathon last year, because my second one wasn't part of the circuit, I earned enough points to be invited to the world championship this year, which just blows my mind.
Wow.
So I'll run that in October, hopefully healthy in Chicago. So at this point, I'll continue running. And if there's a manageable way to somehow keep the Jacquelyn Project going, I would be delighted to do that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Do any of your kids, you said that Jacquelyn's one of 6? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
How are the other kids getting involved? Or are they thinking like, Dad, you're just getting wacky out there with all your running? Or are they running with you? Or how are they supporting?
No, we're still runners. We had a family reunion a couple of years ago and organized a 5K race as, just our family, and had at it last June when I ran my first marathon. There were 6 other there were 5 other family members. Sorry, that's the ice and snow falling off.
Oh my gosh.
They ran the half marathon in that same race. So there were 6 of us in total running that day, and we all had Team Jack shirts on. One of my sons, Rulin, is one of the 4 charity bib runners for the Massage Therapy Foundation this year. So he's also fundraising.
Oh my goodness.
as
Wow.
an extension of the Jacquelyn Project. And given my leg situation, maybe we'll run together if I can keep up with him.
Okay. All right. See, little
So we
Speedy.
do have other people in the family participating, definitely supporting and enjoying it. And I think it's a positive outlet for, some of the emotional challenge and burden of
Mhm.
losing a loved one.
Yes. It's a wonderful way to honor. I was trying to think, what can I do beside running? Like, but I love the running community. Is like I said when I was doing the massaging in that running store and just feeling the welcome feeling in that community. It blew my mind. Everyone's like encouraging and supportive of where everyone is on their level. Of course, there's always everyone who have to get their PRs and do the kind of thing and in their zone. But it just felt like such an inclusive community, and so I really. I miss it just being able to work on the athletes that were coming in or the recreational runners as well, and just being able to hear their stories and trying to talk them out of killing themselves and damaging themselves even more. But I knew that was never happening. I had this one client in particular who was like, she's like, I know you're never going to fix me. And I know people think I'm crazy, but just get me through my next race. Just get me through my next race. And, we kept managing it and getting her through each time. So, it's pretty cool to see everyone's accomplishments with that as well. So I hope I'm gonna put some healing energy out there that April and October are gonna June and June are gonna go really well for you as well. So and so you're in Utah, right? Because you just at the snow just is
Yep.
making noises on you. Are you still running all outdoors and do you
It
do
depends
you have?
on the day. We moved out here a year and a half ago, 2 years
Mhm,
ago, as Jacquelyn started to decline. She
mhm,
needed daily support. So we lived near Chicago. We just packed everything up, moved out here, bought a house. She moved in with us, and we were able to spend a lot of close time together in those, that final year. Yeah, this is a lovely place. It's active. Last
mhm.
Saturday, I did a 7 miler around the Provo airport.
Okay.
Um, and then we had a big snow. And then Monday, I ran 5 miles around the loop. At this point, by the way, I should be doing 10 and 12 every time I go out. So
Mhm,
it's like you say, struggling to the start line. Uh,
mhm,
we had a big snowstorm. And so on those days, when I'm healthy, I'll do the treadmill. When
mhm.
I'm not healthy, I do elliptical and exercise bike. I did an hour and 45 minutes on the elliptical yesterday. I did an hour and 15 on the bike today.
Wow.
I texted my son this morning and asked,
Mhm.
what are you doing tomorrow? He said 19 miles. And this stupid person in me says, oh, maybe I'll join you, right? The longest I've run in the last 2 months is 10 miles.
Uh-huh.
So tomorrow I'll try and find a place and do at least 10 or 11, or maybe I'll be really dumb and run the 19 before I have the MRI and am
Yeah,
told that I need to stop running, right?
yeah,
So we'll see, but this is
yeah,
a beautiful place. I keep looking out the window here. It's a
yeah.
beautiful place to go running. It's higher elevation, which is
Mhm.
awesome because you train here and then you show up to the starting line in Boston, which is effectively sea level, and
Yeah,
you don't know what to do with all the oxygen.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like supercharged,
Yeah.
being able to breathe. Yeah, that's it. Definitely an advantage. Our school is sponsoring. We have 4 campuses here in the state, and we're sponsoring the Flagstaff marathon that's coming up in March, April. I can't remember what it is. But some of the staff that lives in different parts of the country, they're like, "We're going to run it." I said, "You better start finding some hills because Flagstaff's got a lot of mountain and very high elevation." So it's good. That's really tough to do that. So you do have a great advantage there. It's awesome. Love that.
Well, as an aside, isn't Flagstaff the city where, what is it called? I won't get the name right. Northern Arizona.
Yes, NAU, Northern
University.
Arizona University. Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that seems to win the national cross country championship every year.
Yeah.
They-
They got that oxygen advantage.
They do. They do. They recruit well, and
Yeah.
it's I think like 6,000 or 7,000 feet above sea level,
Yeah.
and they just dominate every single year.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible. How fun. I love that. So we talked a little bit about the Massage Therapy Foundation. Is there any projects that they do that really speak to you a lot? I know you said about the community service. How much do you have like input on or encouragement on to how maybe the funds, or do you know how the funds will be used, or what towards, or they're earmarked to certain maybe oncology related projects, or what's like some of the information that you have about that?
Yeah, the mission of the Massage Therapy Foundation is really three legs. It's research, education, and community service.
Mhm,
And I think all three are incredibly important, right?
mhm,
You can't have enough research, and they're advancing research tremendously, which is really helpful for the massage profession, and having massage more and more embraced by institutional healthcare. And we see that happening all the time and becoming more and more
mhm.
mainstream, and people understanding and appreciating the value of massage as a core part of improving health and wellness. I certainly understand it and appreciate it, and it's a fundamental pillar in my training efforts. Right, it's the
Mhm,
one consistent go-to for me. So that's research, education. It's really important. Take
mhm,
things like cancer patient, right,
mhm.
and I'm not a massage therapist. I think you understand that. I want to make sure your
Yeah.
listeners understand. I'm a
Mhm,
huge proponent of massage therapy,
mhm.
but I am not a massage therapist. I was inducted into the 2016 Massage Therapy Hall of Fame, but I'm not a massage therapist. I sit in the cheap seats on the periphery and enjoy all the benefits.
Uh-huh.
But back to cancer, right? So I'm not equipped to talk about this in any detail, but I think
Mhm,
there's still a misunderstanding among some massage therapists of, wow, cancer is a contraindication, and
mm,
I can't offer massage to a cancer patient.
mhm.
Well, while there are considerations,
Right.
hence the importance of education, I
Mhm,
can't imagine an individual with greater need and more
mhm.
deserving of massage therapy, of
Yeah.
those healing hands during an incredibly difficult and dark time. When in
Mhm,
reality, not only do we need to eat right and sleep well, we need to shed emotional baggage as well in
mhm.
order to fully allow our immune system to fight off this disease.
Yeah.
And massage just checks so many boxes in helping cancer patients. And I think education, ongoing education, is needed on that front and many others. But
Mhm,
you already kind of emphasized the point. I immediately gravitated towards the community service grants that the Massage
mhm,
Therapy Foundation supports and funds. And we had a conversation early on where, while I was going to ask Ginny Olson and Marla Gamzee, the two leaders there, they beat me to it. As
mhm.
I was talking with them the first time, pitching the Jacquelyn Project, before I could even say, and could we have a majority of the funds raised be allocated for community service grants,
Mhm,
helping individuals fighting through cancer, whether it's
mhm,
breast cancer, other forms of cancer. Honestly, we could expand that to other deadly diseases,
mhm.
or I should say terrible diseases. They offered up, hey, why don't we do that? I'm like, well, gee,
Nice.
that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea if I thought of it. Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't even have to ask. They offered. And
Oh,
the plan is that the majority, which means over 50% of the funds raised, will go towards those community service grants, targeting these individuals in this compromised situation, in many ways in the darkest moments of their lives.
mhm.
And some of the funds will go towards research and education, both of which can benefit and bless individuals fighting through cancer as well. So it's just a win-win-win.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Are you also, I was just thinking, seeing my smiley face behind me. are you connected to the Massage Makes Me Happy and Healthy initiative as well? I saw some cross connection there with Linda and that project.
Yeah.
Do you have
I
anything
have
planned with that?
I have heard of Linda Soley and Wolf.
Hmm.
I'm
Just a
joking.
little bit.
Linda and I worked together closely for 10 years.
Hmm.
And she was the very first person I called when I was dreaming up the Jacquelyn Project. So she's
Hmm.
absolutely been my partner in crime. When you get on the site and look at the key opinion leaders
Hmm.
who have signed on, Linda invited all of them to join, right? That's all Linda.
Yeah.
Linda's been on the phone with me, with Massage Magazine, with Massage Therapy Foundation, and this whole project would be nowhere without Linda.
Hmm.
Uh, she and I have had conversations about happy, right?
Hmm.
And that's something she dreamed up long before the Jacquelyn Project emerged. And you asked earlier about, will the Jacquelyn Project continue? To be determined, but I already raised my hand with Linda saying, how can I be more involved with happy after I kind of proverbially hang up my running shoes
Hmm.
on April 17th? How can I help you? She's been nothing but helpful to me, and would love to return the favor and help her continue to supercharge happy. There linkages. Well, the linkages are really the people,
Hmm.
and the people are what matter most in life.
Yeah. It's very true. Yeah, we are very proud school ambassadors here at ASIS for the Massage Makes Me Happy initiative. And we actually won the school contest last year. Thank
Oh,
you.
awesome.
So we've got our work cut out for us this year. We got a couple fun things up our sleeves. So I keep the little smiley face on my wall all the time, just so, and it makes its appearance during all my live streams as well. So we're really big proponents of the project and happy to see that they're connected to it too. So.
Well, we're less than a month away.
I know. I was just looking at the calendar as I got to get my things going. So yeah, we've got a bunch of fun stuff that we've got planned. So we're
For anyone who didn't understand that reference, I believe it's March 20th, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
March 20th every year is Massage Makes Me Happy Day. And that's not a US thing. That's a global thing. That's a global initiative. And every year it becomes bigger and better supported and more impactful. And we're going to keep pushing and growing that phenomenon until it becomes ubiquitous.
Yes, I love it. And see those smiley faces everywhere. So
Exactly.
Awesome. So to see that, like you were saying, a little more information about Linda, you can go to your website, and to get more information on the Massage Therapy Foundation and to support your endeavor financially, everyone can go to that website and find a little bit more out about it. Is there anything else that we didn't cover? You want to make sure that people understand about what the project is and what your focus is, or anything?
I think we covered all those dimensions, but let's cover the swag.
Oh, yay. We like swag.
When you get on the donate button, actually, when you go to the rewards on the JacquelynProject.net or go to the donate button, either one will highlight the swag. So there's the wristbands, there's these headbands, Team Jack headbands. There is, and it's all based on the donation level, but I'm going to be wearing custom printed armbands, and anybody who donates at that level will metaphorically run with me at Boston. Their name will be on my armband. We've got Massage Therapy Foundation t-shirts that will be given out at a certain donation level. And Felicia Brown is writing a book and has been kind enough to list me as a co-author. And it's called Marathon Marshall. Actually, can you read? I don't have my glasses.
Yes, Marathon Marshall and the Dream Team Ducks go to Boston.
Go to Boston. It's a cross-country journey, so highlighting the United States, if you will, a highlight from each state. But it's an illustrated book, and the Dream Team Ducks kind of join up with me as we get on the bus to go to the start line to run the Boston Marathon. So that's like the climax of the donation for the highest levels, they'll get a book, or the highest level gets 2 autographed books by both Felicia and myself. So, and it's cumulative. So at the highest level, you also get the wristband, the headband, the other stuff. And I know people aren't going to donate for the swag, but we wanted to have some mementos so people could remember what this is about. And as a small aside, when Jacquelyn was about 2 or 3 months old, we moved to Boston.
Okay.
So we lived there for her first 3 years of life. We used to go down to the commons and the gardens, and they've got the make way for duckling statues. And I believe there's going to be a picture of my little Jacquelyn sitting on one of those duck statues in the back of this book, because it all intersects.
Yeah.
You know, we're going back to Boston to honor her, but that's really where she started, and the ducks are a core part of it.
Oh, that's such a great story. I'm excited about that. I'm going to definitely check that out. And let's see, I made this really big, so now I can't see what I'm doing. So you do also have the Facebook page is very, very active, where you have all your blog posts and different updates that you're doing. So if somebody can't monetarily donate, coming to the page here and liking the page and maybe sharing posts and getting the word out is also helpful. And
can I just reinforce that? Every email I send out to people, I emphasize that point, Michelle, that like the page, that is supporting the Jacquelyn Project, especially massage therapists.
Yeah.
We just would love to have you join the journey. And right now, if you're able and willing to do that, we'd love to have you like that page, and you can do the same in Instagram. We have the Jacquelyn Project page on Instagram. You can follow us there. If someone is able and willing to also donate, we'll be thrilled, because it helps the profession, it helps the Massage Therapy Foundation, it helps people suffering through cancer. But we would love to have you join the journey in whatever capacity you're able and comfortable.
Love that. Yeah, that's great. Very simple way to do that. Gorgeous. And then I'll leave that back up there. That's everything you can get to from that website. And so make sure viewers go and do that. So Marshall, as we start to kind of wrap up our conversation, if you wouldn't mind to answer some of those get to know you questions that I always ask all my guests. And just one more time, making sure everyone has first the website, jacquelynproject.net, and make sure you go like the page. So let's get into getting to know Marshall Dahneke. Which talent or superpower would you most like to have?
Well, I was grateful that you sent the questions in advance.
Yes, you could think about it. I know.
I'll tell you, my knee-jerk answer to that question was running faster over longer distances. But that's because I'm in that training mindset in trying to get under 3 hours for a marathon, yada, yada. And that's a fun thing, but it doesn't really matter. So the more I thought about what superpower or talent, bear with me, but I settled on a one-word answer of love. I think love is the talent and the superpower I would love to have in greater measure, to be a little less self-centered, a little less selfish, a little more selfless, judge a little less, accept a little more, extend a little more grace to myself and to others. And I know it's a journey, and it's one we're all on. But I think that's the ultimate superpower.
That's such a great way to look at it. And then all the things kind of come into place from that when that is at the forefront. Oh, that's beautiful.
At your funeral, having just gone through one last year, no one cares how fast you ran. They care how much you loved.
Yeah. Very true. Why? Oh,
there's some more ice.
And there's some more ice. And you're inside. Be safe. If you weren't, I know it said massage therapist, but if you weren't in the occupation you were in, doing what you're doing, what occupation would you most like to have?
Well, that's I may not be pre-answering that properly, but because it said if you weren't a massage therapist, and I made a note for myself, I'm not. My answer was to be an entrepreneur and business owner, but I kind of was that. So if the question is, if I weren't that, what would I be? I think being a professional runner would be pretty awesome. And if I couldn't handle that, then maybe defaulting to being a massage therapist and helping other people, including athletes and runners, would be pretty cool.
Nice. Full circle. Oh, that's awesome.
There you go.
Yeah. If money and circumstances weren't issues, where would you most like to live in the world?
So this is kind of a subjective answer. I wrote down near family, especially my two beautiful granddaughters. The challenge is that's kind of a moving target.
Yeah.
So the other answer I'll give, and bear with me, I'll explain, but Brazil, Africa, Asia. My wife and I, for decades, have always had this plan that after the kids are raised and settled and we're retired, we would start serving missions for our church. When I was a young man, I served for 2 years in Brazil. So love to go back to Brazil for a couple of years with my chosen companion, my wife. Honestly, I've been to Africa a number of times, and I'd love to go live in Africa for a couple of years and serve the people there. And then ultimately, wherever we get called, these missions are usually 23 months in duration. And her grandparents served 5 of them. So I think we've got to do at least 5 of them.
Wow, it's very lofty, very ambitious. I hope you do get to fulfill that. Be great.
Me too. Me too.
What is your most treasured possession?
My family.
Yeah. Sounds like you have a really great one. Love it. Yeah. And then last but not least, what would you tell your 18-year-old self?
I struggled with this question more than any of them. And it's probably, and maybe you've picked up on this a little bit, but I'm a very results-oriented individual. I'm very driven, which makes me kind of impatient. But I set goals and then I figure out how to work hard to go achieve those goals. And I've been blessed to kind of hit them more often than not. And I'm not sure I've always enjoyed the journey. I read something the other day that said something to the effect of the podium lasts a minute, the training requires a decade, right? And it's if you're too focused on that minute on the podium, you're going to miss 10 years of your life, right? So how do you enjoy the training? How do you enjoy the journey? How do you stop and smell the roses?
Yeah.
I think some version of that advice is what I would give my 18-year-old self. Don't give up on your dreams, set lofty goals and go achieve them.
Yeah.
And find ways to enjoy the process.
Oh, that's really great. Yeah, we get caught up sometimes and forget like just to be in the here and now as we're moving along. I think that's great.
Yes, ma'am.
Advice. Yes. All right. Well, Marshall, thank you so much for coming on and speaking about the project and speaking about Jacquelyn. And know that her legacy is shining on through all of us that that you're communicating with and sharing this project with. And I'm wishing you very healthy vibes and good energy to hit your goal. And I'm sure our students and our greater massage community is going to be inspired by your story. So thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So everyone, thank you for joining us either live or later on the recordings. And we'll see you next week for another great interview. Bye, everyone. Have